Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's D-Man the Great here, and I'm back once again to talk about the beautiful game of basketball and different things that we must discuss in the game. I have a few topics. I'm going to have a very controversial title potentially on this video. It depends on how I'm going to feel after I get done filming this. But I wanted to talk about one of my favorite teams in the NBA today, and it is not the one that everybody forces themselves to talk about every day. Or I shouldn't say forces, the NBA media that's on television shoves it down everybody's throat. Because you don't need to hear about teams when they aren't great teams. Like when you talk about the Lakers all the time and the Knicks all the time. They don't even talk about the Knicks. The Knicks are the 3 seed in the East. That's how crazy the NBA media is. And it's like, oh, they go on every day and then they'll proceed to shit on these players and talk about people like LeBron James all the time. And it's like you talk about LeBron all the time. When you talk about LeBron, somebody has to start that GOAT debate stuff up. And it's like you really don't have to talk about that if it's not really a debate. But that's another story for another day. We're not here to talk about that. So starting with a little bit of positive, my Cleveland Cavaliers have won 60 games on the season. And there are a few games left in the year. I think there's about a week and a half here left, because it's not quite April yet. So then technically it's 2 weeks left in the season as of today, March 31st, Monday. This is Monday morning. I'm speaking right now. So the Cavaliers play the Knicks, Spurs, Kings, Bulls, Pacers, Knicks, and then the Pacers again to end the season. And depending on how hard they want to try, what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Depending on how hard they want to try in this last week of the season, because they've pretty much clinched the number 1 seed. They might win a couple more games if it's up to them. If they decide they want to try to win out, they can break the all-time Cleveland Cavaliers team record, which is 66 games on the second to last game, because set by LeBron James in 2009. With that roster, with Mo Williams, he made an all-star team, and Zydrunas Ilgauskas. And I think Ben Wallace was still on the team from that trade with the Bulls around that time as well. So just a few cliff notes to say that they have been so amazing, so dominant this year. And I'm proud of that team, from a team that looked like it was going to be a year of uncertainty and might be the last ride for them. They've shown that, or at least with a new and revamped offense, they've shown an entirely new side to them. And reading off some of their numbers here, is they've won 32-5 at home this season. So they've only lost 5 home games and 10 games on the road. And they're 38-9 in their conference. An elite number. By far the best in the conference. By far the best in almost every metric. The only team that has a better metric than them is the away, and that's Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have won 3 more games on the road than the Cavs have. And they have gone 31-7. Mind you, they're the defending champion and are amazing. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have done something that is very difficult to estimate as far as how far can they go, because a lot of teams were ranting and raving about some of these rosters lately, and it's like, I understand a lot to do with, they're gonna win because they won a lot of games, but the thing is all the time being the best team, it's not a guarantee. You still have to get to the top and play, and the play style that they have can be conductive if they can keep it rolling into the playoffs. But everything slows down in the playoffs. It gets more half-court centric, half-court heavy, and it's being a fast break roster It's going to be very hard to keep the ball rolling. And then also, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West, who are 62-12 on the season, with a 29-7 on the road and a 33-5 at home, and they're amazing too. And the thing about them is the second best team in the West right now is Houston, and they're gonna just barely scratch over 50 wins this season, unless they, and like, because the thing is, they have the opportunity if they decide whether or not they want to win out or not. Cause, and then that's the thing about this too as well, is you could take notes from people like the Nuggets from a few seasons back when they won the championship. They were so good early and were beating the crap out of everyone that by the time they made it to the second half of the year post All-Star break, they reached a certain point in March where they're like, hey, we don't have to work 110%. We don't have to work the hardest because we're going to win anyway. And they did so, and then they cruised into the playoffs, and then they fairly easily handled every single team they played in the playoffs that season. Because I think the team that did the best versus them, they had the Timberwolves in the first round. They won in 5. They gave them a run for their money, and and then that's the thing too, is most of the teams they played against did give them at least somewhat of a challenge, but the Nuggets sort of won at the end, much like they did against the Lakers, because it's like you got them down every game, and then they rush back and make the comeback at the end of every game, and that's kind of been typical of the Nuggets, shall I say? Because the thing about the Nuggets is they came back from 3-1, remember, in 2020 twice, and it's like dealing with stuff like that. This is a resilient roster, especially with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray on that roster. They can do any and all things, because sometimes it just rolls that way. But the thing is, this roster is a little bit different than the years past. I think they're a little bit they have a little bit less on depth, and that's gonna probably be their undoing if they have won this season. But that's another topic there. The Lakers, I'm gonna get them because I've kind of touched on everybody. I'm gonna touch on the Rockets real quick. So the Rockets, I don't really see them having too realistic of a shot of winning the championship. There's little to no experience as far as winning on that roster besides Van Vliet, but Fred Van Vliet wasn't the driving force on that championship team. Like the Toronto Raptors of 2019 were a very well balanced team. Like, you have a defensive player of the year, multi-time All-Star in Marc Gasol, Kawhi Leonard. I had to repeat his name twice. Do I need to say do I need to say anything else about him? Kyle Lowry was off his best seasons. Then you have people like thing is, they didn't even have OG Anunoby to play. They were unhealthy with him. He was unhealthy all year, and they still won the championship. You got Danny Green, catch and shoot 3 and D guy. Then the Warriors got hurt magically, but they beat a really, really good Bucks team and a solid Celtics team that never really got the ball rolling because they had way too many egos and personalities running on the same roster, So I don't really see that. And the Lakers, as I said, they don't really have defense, and their lack of a big man is going to hurt a lot when games get slowed down and the pace gets slowed down further. But at the same time, they have Luka and LeBron James, and that makes them a threat. So we'll get on to another team, but we're going to head back to the East and talk about the Knicks a little bit. So the Knicks, they have a shot at doing something, but I don't know how healthy they are. And then I don't personally think that they're as good as they used to be, especially without Isaiah Hartenstein. And they lost a little bit of the toughness they had. And it's a little bit it's kind of being a jerk to say that, but you gotta say it. And then the 4th seed right now is the Pacers. They don't really have much of a shot. They haven't been healthy that much all year. Like they're even. They've been almost. They've been even, fairly even. Like they have a negative away record, and will probably be below the Pistons if they lose any more games this season. And then Milwaukee, Dame just went out with injury, and fortunately for them, they're good enough to the point that they're gonna coast probably the rest of the year because they have enough of an advantage over Atlanta to where they won't fall into the play-in. And this is a bit far going down, but Damian Lillard being gone for presumably the rest of the season for blood thinners and different things of the sort with his blood clots, it doesn't appear that the Bucks will be hosting anything because the big trade that you got for your third star was Kyle Kuzma. So, what can you do? All right, so I'm gonna just kind of leave it there. I'm gonna be producing another video and kind of talking a little bit of trash. Well, I shouldn't say trash because it's the truth, because it's something that needs to be discussed in my next video. Because there are certain people in the media, of the NBA media, that run irresponsible takes like these, and it has to be called out. And we need to have more people on the scale. Like, we have to have more people talking about this type of stuff. And I was like, I don't want to call everybody out to talk about it, because it's really irresponsible. It's really irresponsible as fuck that we have to discuss what I'm going to discuss in this next video. But I thank you guys for watching. Please, please, please like and subscribe and comment if you're happy. And I will see you guys later.